Today we're going to be looking at another movie license from the golden era of 8-bit gaming. Who Framed Roger Rabbit on the Commodore 64? This game tried to capture the magic of one of the most groundbreaking films of its time, and failed. Released in 1988 by Buena Vista Software, Disney's own in-house gaming unit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was produced for several platforms, including the Atari ST, MS-DOS, Apple II,
I needed that.
and the version I'm most familiar with, the Commodore Amiga, as I've had this for almost 30 years, albeit a, well, let's say, backup copy. And, interestingly enough, it was actually the first video game Disney published directly, marking a major step into the gaming world. The game was developed by Silent Software, a relatively obscure studio at the time. While developing the game, lead programmer Ricard von Wolfschild and his team at Silent Software pioneered a new technique for displaying animation frames, or cells, on computer screens. This method let artists view one cell through the previous one, mimicking the classic animation workflow used in traditional studios. They called it onion skin technology, and it was this breakthrough that laid the foundation for their next big project, Disney Presents the Animation Studio. Designed for both hobbyists and professionals, this software empowered users to create their own animations on the Amiga and PC. The movie that the game was based on needs no introduction. Directed by Robert Zemeckis and released in 1988, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was a cinematic marvel. It blended live action with traditional animation in ways no one had seen before. Set in a 1947 version of Hollywood where cartoon characters, or toons, live alongside humans, the film follows private detective Eddie Valiant as he tries to clear Roger Rabbit's name after he's accused of murder. The film starred Bob Hoskins, Christopher Lloyd, and featured voice work from Charles Fleischer and Kathleen Turner, and was loosely based on Gary K. Wolfe's novel Who Censored Roger Rabbit. And thanks to a collaboration between Disney and Steven Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment, it became a box office smash, grossing over $350 million worldwide. And even though the film is set in and around 1940s Hollywood, about 80% of the movie was shot in the UK, with a former electric railway power station in Shepherd's Bush standing in for the interior and exterior of the Acme factory. This Grade 2 listed building is now a bus station, so the next time you catch the number 49 to Clapham Junction, you'll just be a few feet away from where Judge Doom met his demise. Not only was the film an instant hit, it reignited interest in classic animation and helped usher in the Disney Renaissance, so naturally a video game tie-in was inevitable. The game is divided into 3 different game styles, each based on a scene from the movie, and after getting a briefing from Baby Herman, you set off in Benny the Cab to head to the Ink and Paint Club to look for Marvin Acme's will. Once behind the wheel, you have to avoid other cars, trolleybuses and puddles of dip on the road, all the while racing the Toon Patrol to your destination. Going through the puddles will cost you 1 of your 5 lives, but you do have the ability to jump over the obstacles and even raise your suspension. But the latter doesn't actually seem to do anything, so I guess it's just a gimmick. Either that or it's used to reach the few pickups in the level, such as the speed boost or an invulnerability to the dip for a short period. These items are randomly placed throughout as hanging signs above shop doorways and can be easily missed if you're going too fast. It's extremely frustrating, as going too slow the weasels will outrun you and get to the club first, whereas if you pick up a little speed you hardly have any time to react to the oncoming cars and dip. Once you reach the club ahead of the weasels, you have to search for Marvin Acme's will by collecting the napkins from the tables, but the penguin waiters are constantly running around replacing the napkins just as fast as you can pick them up. Remember, one of the napkins is Marvin Acme's will that he wrote in disappearing ink, so you just have to run around aimlessly and grab every bit of paper you can. But try to avoid picking up the glasses of whiskey on the tables. If you've seen the movie, then you'll know what happens when Roger has alcohol. Also, watch out for the gorilla bouncer that is pacing up and down at the bottom of the screen. Get too close and he will grab you and throw you out of the club, and you will lose another life. Now, this level isn't too difficult, as you just push the joystick in the direction of the table you want Roger to go to and press fire as he's passing the napkins. The most annoying thing about this stage is that animation after accidentally picking up the whiskey. It was fun at first, but after seeing it 5 or 6 times, it gets a little old and you just want to carry on with the game. After finding the will, you get back into Benny the Cab, this time racing to Acme's gag factory to rescue Jessica from the clutches of Judge Doom, and this level is basically just a carbon copy of the first. Get to the factory before the weasels and it's time for the final showdown. This final level is a platform game where you have to find various Acme gag items in the crates throughout the warehouse to defeat the weasels and reach Jessica from the dip cannon that is slowly moving towards her, as can be seen by the distance meter at the bottom of the screen. This stage is all about trial and error, as some of the gags will help you on your path, but many will hinder and slow you down. Luckily, this game came with a physical gag catalogue, a clever little booklet that gave hints on how to use the joke items and what effects they would have. This was also used to answer the random questions you would be asked before you were let into the Ink and Paint Club. The gags include roller skates, shrinking potions, plutonium powered pogo sticks, and portable holes. You know, these things. I must remember to pick that up later. Reach the end of the level, place a portable hole over the X, jump down, rescue Jessica and turn the tables on Judge Doom. Converting Who Framed Roger Rabbit to the Commodore 64 was no doubt no easy feat, especially with the challenges of balancing gameplay variety with technical limitations. The developers had to capture the essence of Roger Rabbit, its slapstick humour, noir mystery and animated chaos, into a format that could run on 8-bit hardware. The end result was commendable. The game is very simplistic and at times pretty difficult, especially the driving sections with the puddles of dip creeping up on you before you have the chance to react. The presentation is top notch with the cutscenes and of course the end sequence is great, even though you'd be hard pressed to understand what is written on Marvin Acme's will when the ink reappears. It actually reads, "I, Marvin the Gag King, being of sound mind and body, do hereby bequeath all of Toontown to those lovable toons." And have you noticed there's no mention of the name Acme anywhere in the game? They just refer to Marvin as the Gag King and the Acme Factory as the Gag Factory. The developers obviously couldn't get the right to use the Acme name from Warner Brothers. Composer Jim Andron provided the music, and while it still managed to capture the zany spirit of the film, the C64 SID chip was capable of so much more, and we just got this. It's not the worst music I've heard on the Commodore 64, but it certainly isn't the best. So, how was the game received? Not that well, as Zap gave the C64 version a 28% and 27% for the Amiga. Commodore User gave it a slightly better 61% and the Games Machine just 42%. It's odd how a lot of the UK mags at the time were reviewing the C64 version, when I really don't think it got released over here. Please let me know if you know any different. So what did you think of Who Framed Roger Rabbit on the Commodore 64? Did you play this back in the day? Let me know in the comments below, I'd love to hear your stories. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Anyway, thanks for watching, and Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. If I can get out of this hole. Help!